Party Poker Premier League Poker 5 continues here in Vienna with over $2 million in the prize pool and the most formidable players in the business. This is guaranteed to be the greatest season yet.
Cards are going to be flying off the table soon.
They're going to go nuts when they see this.
You could have outplayed me though.
I heard I'm not supposed to make friends.
Just have my blinds here, just take them.
This is the first time I've ever heard Tom Dwan be excited about the chance of folding.
I want to fold, but I just felt like I couldn't.
That's the way to do it.
Hey, it's really hard to fold a hand this good when you're eating chicken this delicious.
I'm basically out of the Premier League, down to my last animals.
I had the G on the ropes there, and you've just told them you had the nuts. It's driving me crazy.
I got to deal with the stare down just to steal a freaking blind.
Ace King, you're good. You're good. You've got the best hand, whatever happens.
Oh, God, come on.
I mean, what the hell?
This is a standard fold. Phil has lost his mind.
I'm not getting any respect.
No, I'm going to be moving in every hand.
We understand that you're not very good, but you're a nice guy.
Empty. I feel people have been very rude at this table so far at this heat.
You are the best, OEG.
It's black time.
Can you shut up for a bit, because I'm actually thinking.
Who knows what I think sometimes?
Curiosity's killing it.
Real nice.
Come on, let's see the river.
If you have aces right now, I'll never talk to you again.
Wow.
I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home.
I'm so angry at myself right now.
Let's shut him up.
Pair. Good news. Do you want to swap hands?
Zasco smelled the rat.
I'm not going to listen to Tony anyway. He clearly has no idea what he's doing.
That's pretty cool.
Ooh. Oh, sweat, sweat. Yeah! What would you do here then, Tony?
Boom! Let's go! Yeah! Everyone's a winner.
Before the main event begins, 24 global qualifiers face off for a chance to win one of 2 seats in the main event. It's the opportunity of a lifetime and a chance for them to play alongside some of the brightest stars in poker. There are 2 global qualifying events, each made up of 12 players from around the world. The qualifiers were divided into 2 groups of 6. The groups play 1 heat with the top 3 players going through to the final table. The last man standing on each global qualifier final table wins a place in the Premier League main event. Last time, Group A played their qualifying heat and 3 players moved through to the Global Qualifier Event 1 final table. This is how things shaped up.
Cards in the air here at Premier League Poker 5.
Maybe in Macau you can value bet pocket threes on flop and turn.
You're only showing aces.
Unlucky for me.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, that's a snap call.
It's too needy to fold. Get my chips in good, that's all I can do.
For Feldman, he has to have these hold or else he's out.
And there it is, king.
This could be all for Andrew Feldman. It's certainly dire.
That's it. That's it.
That's a...
Coleman's all in. Oh!
How much does that?
Oh,
How
that's
much?
painful.
Wow. Just 4 players left. This is it, the official bubble, and Bodo's on it. Oh, and Franklin, well, he had a lot of reasons to fold, but none with the 2 kings.
This might be over. That's it. That's it for Bodo. That's the bubble, Jesse.
But for Matthew Franklin,
What a run.
yeah, and nominal chip leader right now for that final table on the chance at the $125,000 Premier League poker seat.
Well done, guys.
Now Group B will play their qualifying heat. The players include Antony Lellouche, Alexander Petersen, Giovanni Rizo, Diego Zeiter, Peter Muehlbek, and Antonis Poulengaris. Giovanni is a pro for Party Poker, and we saw you at the Premier League before. That's actually where we first saw you, so are you excited to be back?
Very excited to be back, and it's a beautiful location, and that's where it started, so it's kind of full circle. Last time I was a qualifier, this was, my first invitation here, so I'm pretty proud and stoked to be here.
Have you had a look at the other players at your table?
I did. I commentated the first heat, and now I'm a little bit nervous. The situation is rough. It's a really good table, good players. Qualifiers seem solid, so we'll see.
Alex is a well-known player in these parts, and we usually see you at some quite high-stakes games. Have you had a look at the table draw that you're about to go into?
Yeah, I don't know any of the qualifiers, but I know Antony Lellouche very well, and we played a lot both online and live, so I think he'll try to have his revenge.
That could make things interesting. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I couldn't fold even for a smile.
King of Diamonds is one of my favorite cards of the deck.
I definitely want you to qualify.
Oh.
Oh. Trust me, if I'd hit, I would have hit really, really, really big.
That's too small, I guess. Unfortunate. Oh, then it's okay.
What am I going to do with this?
It's time to get the Global Qualifiers Group 1 Heat B underway. Now over to your commentary team of Jesse May and Andrew Feldman.
I am Jesse May, thrilled to be joined by the Premier League Poker mixed game runner-up Andrew Feldman. Unfortunately, Andrew, in this Premier League, the distinction of being first out. No worries, though.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I was the first one out, but the way I look at it, maybe it's not such a bad thing, because to come second or third is going to hurt a lot more than be the first one out, and it just wasn't meant to be for me.
Big names here, though. Giovanni, Rizo, Party Poker's man in Italy, and this is one of his specialties. He loves the sit-and-go format, and having watched Heat A, I think he'll be well capable of doing well here. On his right, one of truly the best players in Europe. Sometimes he flies under the radar, but Lellouche, certainly a big gun in French poker.
Yeah, I've played with Lellouche a few times. He's a very, very tough opponent, excellent poker player, probably, in my eyes, the favourite to progress here with the most chips. I've got a lot of respect for his game. So.
And a guy who hasn't been on TV too much, but well-known online, a huge high-stakes player. They call him Alexander KP from Denmark, Alexander Petersen. We are ready to roll here. Have a look at the chips on the table. It's 300,000 starting stack per player. Yellow chips worth 1,000, blues are 2, reds are 5K, and the greens 10,000 each. The format, very specific. These 6 players will play down to 3, who will then carry their chips forward to join the players who qualified from Heat A for a 6-man winner-take-all seat at the Premier League Poker. Now, Andrew, in hindsight, you know, what do you think the strategy is early on? You took a very strong approach, which was to play quite fast. In fact, in your first hand, you went for it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably not one of my best hands I've ever played, but I just went for it, really. I felt, yeah, I just went, you know, it's a winner-take-all.
And you think there's a huge advantage to having that big stack early, being able to push people around?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I felt that as well, that I just felt, I'm a very momentum player. As soon as I feel as if I've got my opponents covered, I will go with that. And I feel these kind of formats, it is a lot about momentum, really.
Well, when you talk about going at it, here you have a situation, you know, 3 guys, all of whom could have folded their hand pre-flop, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, Petersen's raised here, cold called by Enigma with the King-8 suited, and Rizo in the big blind with the King-4 suited. All these guys, from an early indication, seem to feel that they want to get chips.
Yeah, I definitely justify Petersen's open. Totally fine to open in the hijack with Queen 10. To call on the button with King-8, I don't really like the call so much. Obviously, he flops a flush draw and bets it, but Petersen makes a good call here with a second pair. So
now this will get more interesting on the turn.
Yes.
First of all, you know, is Petersen planning on maybe calling 2 streets?
No.
And will Enigma barrel it?
I thought Enigma might barrel, but and if he did, I believe he would have won. But certainly he's not. Wow, that would have made Pizzo the nuts. If Pizzo was in, he may have won a big pot here. Now Petersen has a decision: does he value bet or check? I think he's going to go for a value bet here with his queen heart, but he's certainly not getting called.
Sit for bet 23,000.
Wow, that's a big bet.
A very big bet.
That's a big bet.
It's kind of Isildur-like, right? I mean, where you start to think that it's such a big bet that it looks like it might be a bluff type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I would have preferred a smaller bet. I don't really think. I mean, I don't know. So it's a weird spot for him, really.
Well, if there's one guy who could be Isildur-like, it is Petersen.
Yeah,
he's definitely played with him. He's the young Dane. He plays high-stakes cash online, and he's got a lot of confidence right now.
Yeah, he's going to. Him and Lellouche are going to be the 2 most active players, I would have thought. So, and Rizo, of course, has got a lot of experience. So, I think this is going to turn out to be a very strong heat.
We have a talk at this table. It's a quiet table, I think.
It gets boring otherwise. You fall asleep.
Hey, you're right.
You just need to get some shots.
Lellouche coming in.
The old deuce 3 suited.
2-3 clubs.
They should make a full
and
C3 raise 11,000.
yeah, Ace King of Diamonds should 3-bet. Wow.
Now, this is the first time that
nice fold.
Peter Muehlbek
Nice
stuck
fold.
chips in the pot. Zeiter's aware of that, isn't
Yeah,
he?
nice fold there.
That's what they call
Some players may.
isn't it? Or 1, 2, 3. Or 1, 2, 3.
Don't really like this call out of position with 2-3 really.
Pretty optimistic.
Very optimistic, yeah. It's against a Titus player. Yeah, I mean you've got to flop massive here to it. Now this is a flop he might end up taking it away from if Muehlbek checks back, which I would imagine he would. Muehlbek will hate this flop, and I'll imagine he's going to check. And Lellouche is going to sniff. Well, it depends what Muehlbek does. If he makes an aggressive bet here, he'll probably wins it.
That's 14,000.
That's a very aggressive bet, and Lellouche has to fold.
I mean, it is interesting because part of Lelouch's plan, the only reason you can play a deuce-3 suited profitably here is if you're going to make plays on flops like this.
Correct.
Is that
correct? Yeah. But you wouldn't expect Ace-King to bet here. So you would expect only really, I mean, this just check raise gets through, obviously.
And he's actually trying, you know, thinking that sometimes he can get the guy eventually off hands like, what, 10s and jacks?
Yeah,
and
of
stuff
course,
like that.
of course, 100%. He's going to bet so many turns. And you're 100% right there. He's going to make 10s, jacks, queens, kings. You know, all these, if the board runs out scary, then these hands have to fold. So, yeah, okay, the check, it worked out very well for Lellouche.
You know, sooner or later you're going to have to make some marginal decisions if you want to get through here.
And another big thing as well is it tells the table, do not 3-bet me, I'm not going to fold, which is massive in poker because 3-betting is so popular nowadays just to take the dead chips. And if you're going to call a 3-bet with deuce-3 and check raise with a gut shot, you're telling your opponents, don't mess with me because I'm going to come back.
Okay, Muehlbek's like, okay, fine. You don't like the ace-king? Try these. I'll bring some 10s to the party.
This week. And now Petersen does the standard 3-bet with the rag ace. And
now Muehlbek's feeling a bit like a pinball machine here, and he's been around a while, Andrew. He knows, you know, aggressive guys pick on you. Do you 4-bet here, or do you let the guy hang himself?
I can't imagine he's ever going to 4-bet level 1 with 10s.
Right, so you call and then you give the guy the rope.
You just reevaluate and see. You just have to reevaluate on what the flop comes. Obviously, you don't really want to see an ace. There aren't too many flops you'll love, but he's going to just check call here with 10s. Oh, has he flopped the deuce here? Yeah, he's flopped the deuce, so he's going to bet, yeah. And he may barrel this board, so...
4 bets 8,000.
No, okay, so he's betting to basic, so 10s just calls.
Call.
And
it starts getting interesting on the turn.
Well,
right?
it all depends on what the turn is, but Petersen is only going to bet now if he improves.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he's not barrel. Like, well, this definitely goes check, definitely. He knows this has hit Muehlbek's range so much, and he's not going to. Oh wow, I didn't expect a bet here. Right.
And you're not in love with this bet.
No, because
does it commit him to a river bet?
Well, I assume so. Yes, I assume it does, because 10s, Jack 10, Queen 10, 9 10, King Queen, all these hands are not folding on the turn. But if he is going to bet the river, then this can well be a profitable play. But it depends how stubborn.
It's such a guessing game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a guessing game. But these Scandies love to put themselves in these spots. They love it. Absolutely love it. Wow. Okay, so he's backdoored a straight. Now, does Muehlbek find a check in him? I think he might come out betting. I really would like to see him check here, but can he find a check in him? He's itching to bet. You can see he so badly wants to bet here, and he's looking at his chips.
36.
This gets folded.
C3 bets 36.
Against an aggressive Scandi, you have to. The way he's played his hand, he has to check the river to induce a bluff.
And that's the only weapon,
the
only defense against the aggressive Scandinavians.
Exactly, like you say, hang himself. And he would, on this river, he would definitely bet. He's betting the turn to set him up for a river bluff. So, unfortunately, Muehlbek couldn't find the check, but...
he does get the pot as a consolation prize anyway.
sorry to interrupt. I just would have been interested to see if Petersen would have found that triple barrel if a brick comes, and whether Muehlbek would have found the courage to call, but we'll never know.
Is Muehlbek missing a side of his glasses? There's something weird going on there. Right. I've heard of one-armed bandit, but never one-armed glasses. Now, the format of this global qualifier calls for 18 hands a level. And, of course, the players, when we get down to 3, will take their chips forward for a final table. And that winner-take-all seat worth over $100,000. It's massive.
Seat number 5, call. Seat 6, fold. Seat 1, fold.
So Rizo comes.
He's opened this up.
Rizo opens for the 8s. Muehlbek calls with ace jack, and Zeiter calls with 5s. All pretty standard. Wow. And top set for Rizo. He may get a call from Zeiter. Ace jack should fold, but then again, ace jack didn't fold against me on this board when I played my heat.
Yes, that must bring back some memories.
It brings back a few painful memories. 8-7-4 flop. It was, so Zeiter that makes a call. Thinking maybe he has the best hand, and if he doesn't, he's expecting his 5 to be good, and obviously 6 for the straight. Now, does Rizo find a check here? He's checked. I think Zeiter will check.
Zeiter will think he has the best hand, though.
Well, he doesn't know. Like, the thing is, he's going to get check raised and he'll fold. I think. Who knows? He may leaven himself into calling. He's not going to bet much.
So you're not crazy about this bet?
It's okay. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with betting here.
But when you bet, you're going to have to respect the check raise here. Giovanni, can Giovanni ever check raise with a draw here?
Definitely could. So he definitely could. But players don't really tend to check raise. They would prefer to lead. Like flush draws would probably just bet this turn as opposed to check raising. But who knows? This is a good. If you have ace high here, it's not a bad time to check raise, because unless Zeiter's full here, he's going to have a tough spot. But he makes a good fold here.
Giovanni, a little bit of a fancy move there.
Yeah.
Gets a few extra chips out of it.
He's now obviously regretting the raise, but no, he's played his hand fine. It's very standard. Nothing wrong. It's a pretty standard hand.
About a dozen hands have been played. The aggressive players out front, Lellouche, Rizo, and the Enigma. This is the prelude to the main event, and the 14 Premier League players are starting to arrive and are all eager to get the biggest tournament in poker underway.
I can't stay in LA because then I miss out on the opportunity of the heartbeats, the scary bluffs and all that stuff. I had to be here for it.
It's the most prestigious event to get invited to in the world.
This is going to be the strongest lineup they've ever had.
I don't really know what to expect.
I just want to get in there and do it.
Only 2 global qualifiers will have a chance to win through to the main event. The action continues after the break.
Welcome back to Season 5 of Party Poker Premier League Poker from Vienna. Before the main event gets underway, the global qualifier events are playing out to determine who will take the last 2 spots in the Premier League lineup.
It's a nice balance, nice makeup to this table, Andrew, and
yeah,
you can see we're going to get a good player for the Premier League out of these 6 plus the 3 from Heat A.
Definitely, yeah. It's a pretty strong. It is a pretty strong table here.
4,000. Seat 5, fold. Seat 6, fold. Seat 1, fold.
Petersen has made a fairly loose open with Jack 8 in the hijack. Rizo's made a fairly loose defend, but I would expect Petersen to take this pot so often.
Rizo's like, I know what he's doing. Oh, wow,
He's flopped trips again, back-to-back trips. So
Sit for bets 5,000.
Petersen, sorry, what was you
Well, I
going
was
to
just
say?
saying, is there a good dynamic that's going to happen here, whereas that Petersen thinks to himself, Rizo knows that I'm being loose, so he's going to be making a play on me?
Well, the answer is yes, because he's just called the check raise with Jack high. Can Rizo find a check? I don't think he'll check. This is this has got Petersen involved, definitely.
Petersen could actually get knocked out of here.
He won't get knocked out, but he's definitely calling this, and he may call river as well. What a turn.
18,000.
Yeah, Petersen
Now, is it time for Petersen to really stop and think, or is it kind of a...
Well, now he's made his hand, there's no point in raising. He's just happy to call. He's just going to call him down. I mean, unless Rizo bets like 50k on the river, he's going to call here. He's just, I can't see him.
He's, in his mind, Rizo has nothing, right? That's what he's saying to himself?
Well, I don't know. He's thinking... I don't know what he's thinking, really. How much did he bet? 50 is...
Looks like just over 30,000.
Oh, wow. It's a good fold. Good fold. That's a nice fold.
So Petersen, who plays
good fold,
quite wide open, pedal to the metal, is also able to make some very good decisions on the fly.
Yeah. That's a decent fold. I mean, I thought he might have called there. He obviously didn't think Rizo would treble barrel, so good fold there.
Great pot for Rizo, but think about Alexander Petersen. He went from floating the check raise on the flop, right, intending to bluff, then to calling for value, then to folding. That's kind of 3 gears.
Well, there you go. But that's the way I like it. This is the high variance play these Scandies play. This is it. Every street, they just will constantly be reevaluating what they want to do. So
3 gears in 15 seconds.
Pretty much. But no, I really like Petersen's style. I've been very impressed. He just hasn't. He's been on the, on the bad side of 2 pots. But
is it going to slow him down yet?
Definitely not. Definitely not. He's not here to slow down. And now he's finally picked up a genuine hand. Oh, okay. Now I would. Okay, he's just called here.
Well, it's a big call from Zeiter because I would say 2 things right now. Zeiter doesn't really want to get all his chips in pre-flop, and Petersen does. Would you agree with that?
No, I wouldn't agree with. I don't think Petersen would want to get in 120 big blinds with 10s on level 1 to an undergun open. But I think that the call is. I think the hand is fairly standard pre-flop play on level 1, really.
Right.
And I think he may. Wow, he's gone for the check. Bit surprised there. Why he wouldn't bet? Why he wouldn't bet 10s?
He's so confusing, isn't he? We're watching him, and he obviously spins people around a little bit. Is he going to go for the check raise here?
No. You can't. Your hand isn't strong enough to check raise. No way. Not in level 1. Once you check raise, you're representing a huge hand. It's just call here.
So he's actually genuinely playing pot control.
Well, yeah, he's playing. He's just mixing it up, really. See, he doesn't love that turn, and Zeiter now Zeiter's picked up some massive equity here, 36%, and if he bets it.
What do you think Petersen is on if you're Zeiter? I mean, is it kind of like, looks like a 1-pair hand? Because you know that Petersen's so loose, it could be like 6-7 or something, right?
I don't know, really.
Is he trying to take Petersen off a better hand? Is he betting for value?
Both, really. He's got massive equity, and he knows his ace high isn't good.
Now he does, for sure.
Yeah, and if he's betting the turn, he should bet this river.
And he's thinking, I can take Petersen off the bad 1-pair hand.
Exactly.
Maybe he's got king 3 or something like that, right?
Yeah. Bets 32,000.
That's a good call. Nice call, Petersen. That's why he's played his hand perfect. Perfect.
He hung him out to dry.
Yeah, well done.
Petersen said, if you want to see mine, you got to show me yours.
Yeah.
That's always fair in this game.
Yeah, it is. He played his hand perfect. That's a very good call. Some players may fold 10s there, because we can only beat a bluff. But he made a good call, and that's put him back up to average. And I'm telling you, this guy will not be slowing down. He's going to be the most aggressive player on this table for sure.
We're not gonna get bored watching Alexander Petersen.
No, he's certainly going to be an entertaining player to watch.
To raise 4,000.
So ace is wow.
Well, this is a good way. This is a good way to try and get paid. And the call. This is interesting by Muehlbek. He's hoping someone squeezes.
Ace king for Rizo, aces for Muehlbek, and ace jack for Petersen. Wow. And there's only been 12. There's only 12k in there so far. No, don't tell me he's going to make a squeeze here.
Is there an argument for squeezing?
Well, out of position. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, there's always an argument for squeezing, but.
Well, Muehlbek's hating this now. You know, he didn't do the re-raise. It's 5 ways. I'm not sure. I kind of like the idea of trying to hope someone squeezes behind, but, you know, as it turns out, you know, you're not crazy about it. You think you just 3-bet with them, and that's the way it is.
Yeah. See what happens.
Yeah, definitely. So very aggressive bet from Rizo, but he's only bets how much? He bets 7k. So ace is probably just calls here, multi-way. And I think all other hands fold. Yeah, Petersen just insta-folds the jack. So unless a 10 comes, I think Rizo's check folding. Imagine he's going to check ace king.
Fascinating hands, and these go so quick.
It's a very strong play. He bets. And you don't love it with aces, really. I mean, you're 5-way. You're now 5-way to. You don't particularly love it because you're obviously now thinking, well, what does Rizo have? You're not folding, but you're certainly not raising. And
in your mind, there are still some value hands you can beat, but they get less and less all the time.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Rizo could definitely have ace queen, 2 kings. He could be, you know, he can be semi-bluffing a draw, which he turns out to be. So calling is correct. Now on the river, the question is, once he gets check to, how much do you bet? But
35.
You must bet. And now, Rizo is thinking, have you missed a draw? Like your hand is, he's thinking, is this ace high good? But I think he's going to fold here. I don't think he's going to think Muehlbek's a good enough player to bluff here.
And as an overall strategy, picking off Peter Muehlbek's bluffs doesn't seem like...
Yeah, it doesn't seem an optimal play, but he is considering it. He is thinking, he's called, yeah, he's hoping he's got a missed straight draw, missed flush draw.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
He got curious, and he's paid the price, Rizo. But he says to himself, there's just not a lot of hands that... Most hands you think that you're calling with, you're checking behind.
Exactly.
Well, that's certainly put the cat back amongst the pigeons. Great start from Rizo. He's now back to even, while Peter Muehlbek, the local Austrian, has zoomed ahead.
Yeah.
Crazy things happen. The Premier League players are all starting to arrive in Vienna. We go over to Kara Scott, who has tracked down the Jungle Man.
Let's talk about the Premier League lineup. It's our best yet. What are your thoughts on the players?
Well, this is a pretty tough lineup in general. Like, all the players are good. There's Vanessa Selps, there's Evgeny Timoshenko, Tom Dwan, Patrick Antonius, Scott Seaver is also really good. You know, it's a pretty intimidating lineup, but, you know, I'm going to try to do my best, and we'll see what happens.
Daniel Cates is one of the best no-limit hold'em players in the world. I've actually known him and his game for years now, having come up with him online playing small stakes and moving up to the highest nosebleeds. And he's an extraordinarily tough and difficult opponent, but a lot of fun as well, and I look forward to getting to play with him.
He's one of the biggest winners in 2011, 2010 in cash games. I think he's much better at cash games than he is at tournaments.
This is a very particular structure with the points and the qualifications. Do you think tournament players might have a bit of an edge?
Yeah, I think the tournament players would probably have an edge in this thing on the whole because, firstly, of the the point structure, because that is something that tournament players are used to thinking about, whereas cash game players, they don't really have to think about that. They don't have any algorithms for dealing with it or whatever. And also, like, most of the play is shallow, whereas cash game players are, their forte and their whole advantage over tournament players is when games become deeper. That doesn't really exist, so it seems like a tournament which unsurprisingly favors tournament players.
Well, there's an awful lot of money at stake. There's also a title, Premier League champion. How much fun would it be to have a title?
Yeah, it'd be great to have the title. It'd be my first title ever, so why not start with the Premier League title, of course.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to seeing you play.
Thanks.
You know, you just can't talk about a lineup in poker these days that can match what we've got for the Premier League this year. Seidel, Antonius, Tom Dwan. It's big.
Raise to 8,000.
Funny thing about Lellouche, you can see the way Lellouche is looking at Petersen. He's like, yeah, that was me. That was me about 12 years ago. Now I'm older and wiser. Lellouche he's not actually that old. I mean, he's been around.
Okay, now this is a very interesting spot for Petersen.
So it's a 3-bet. Tony, the Enigma's opened it up.
Yeah.
Lellouche has made it 21,000.
Yeah, this is a very tricky spot with ace queen suited here. What
do you rule out? What is out of the 3 options?
Wow, I didn't expect him to fold. Well, I really didn't expect him to fold.
That shows the extremes to his game, right?
That does. Like, I mean, I thought folding was what the least. I thought he was going to call or 4-bet. Enigma has called here with ace-10 of clubs, but I expect.
And what's Lellouche doing? What's the reason for this?
He's playing position. It's perfectly fine. He feels he's going to win this like this. He's probably going to. You know, Lellouche will bet like 26,000, and Enigma is probably going to fold. So.
1 bet.
But
22.
Yeah, well, I would have liked a slightly bigger bet, because now it like ace 10s and ace queens may just peel one, and now you're kind of, but they don't. So there you go. That's why he does it. He's playing position. It's a good spot to do it, and you have to balance your range. You can't only be 3-betting in position with aces, kings, queens, ace, king. You have to do it with these weak hands as well to build your chip stack.
And different from what Petersen was doing, but look how much more effective it is.
Don't have bad thoughts.
Don't have bad thoughts. Don't think crazy.
No, him. I'm sorry, talking to my friend.
No, me. No.
You, yeah.
I just
You're already crazy.
I'm already crazy. Don't worry about me, yeah.
I think this heat is going to be played on a very high level, and I think Petersen and Lellouche are going to keep it that way.
I would imagine so, yeah. They're going to be the two strongest players. Oh, again, I mean, aces, 10s, and now queens.
Now listen, all you need is a little help. Just a little bit of help in the right places. You know, a little something extra.
Yeah, well, and I think he's going to get a call off Tony here with 2 6s.
6 call.
So yeah, he calls in a small blind, and if this board runs out nicely, he may win a few more chips here. I mean, from my recollection, Tony's a pretty stubborn player, and
he looks stubborn.
He doesn't like to be pushed around. Oh wow! Now this is interesting how this will play out. I think Tony might check call 1-bet here.
Is that what you do with 6s?
Personally, I would fold. I don't want to chase a draw where I don't feel comfortable. But stubborn players don't tend to like folding, like, you know, pairs like 6s in this spot. They will just like to peel
Hope
one
it
off
goes
it.
check
Exactly,
on the turn,
yeah,
perhaps,
yeah,
if they don't hit.
Yeah. Now he might.
And does Muehlbek have a lot of reasons to check this turn? Would you for pot control, or would you be happy enough to barrel this?
I think he should bet. There are very few 8s in Tony's range here, but you can argue check-in.
3-bet 18.
I think 18,000 may well get a call here from Tony. He just isn't going to want to fold for such a small bet. He's going to think, he's priced him in. Tony doesn't love it, but he just can't put Muehlbek on a hand. And if this is a small river card, he may pay him off, which it is. He checks, and now Muehlbek should definitely bet. He should bet about 45,000.
24.
Wow, so small. But it stinks to value this bet, but I can't see Tony folding for 24.
And when you say you can't put Muehlbek on a hand, you mean because he's raised and then bet 3 streets?
Yeah,
I mean, that's a pretty good indication that the guy's got something, right?
Yeah, but
what else was he supposed to do?
I don't know really. It's a weird one there.
Amazing though. I mean, Andrew Feldman is amazing. Peter Muehlbek, who I think it seems to be the most conservative player at the table, just getting paid off everywhere.
Yeah.
He must be thinking this is Candyland.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been pretty backdoored straight. He's got paid off with his aces and got paid off with 2 pair there. Well, hero called. So it's been a very nice start for Muehlbek.
It's just a time when you start thinking, look, I got 500K. Let's push these guys. Let's go. Let's try and get $1 million.
I don't think he will, to be honest, because I think he thinks that there's so many of these young kids around and they're just all going hyper. He's just going to wait. He's just going to wait, you know, for his big pairs and just continue with his strategy. Now this is an interesting spot. Petersen, who's been raising like 70% of hands, now has a very strong hand to open with. And Zeiter just flat calls here with the King Jack, and Enigma wakes up with Ace Jack of Spades on the button.
A lot of guys would have put a squeeze in there, right?
And it would have been interesting how Petersen would have reacted. And what Lellouche has a very nice hand in the big blind.
He could have put a squeeze in too.
He could have. And
do you think both Enigma and Lellouche decided that these hands just flop too well?
Well, yeah, and you don't really want to get in a pre-flop raising war as well, because you know Petersen someone may. Wow, and that's Petersen's set, and I think he's going to win a big pot here because Lellouche definitely isn't folding for 1 bet. Definitely not folding 1 bet.
This is going to test Lellouche.
Yes, this is. A lot depends on what the turn is.
And in some ways, it's a bit of a cooler, right?
Well, he has to call. It is. First of all, it is. Yeah. But the thing which can kind of get him away, not losing too many chips, is Petersen's bet 4-way. He's betting to 3 other hands here, so he's saying he's got a big hand. So King Queen just calls, will just call the flop and reevaluate the turn. You don't love it, but you obviously never fold. Raising's the worst option. Calling is, he should never raise. No, raising's bad here.
Lellouche deep into the tank here. And I guess, Andrew, he's not only thinking about what's going to happen this street, but you can see he's saying to himself, what am I going to do on different kind of turns? What is my plan for this hand in the future? Because he fully recognizes that this pot can escalate.
Yeah, it definitely could. And now this is this is tough now for Lellouche, because obviously Petersen is going to bet like 40K, and what do you do with King Queen?
What do you do? I mean, I feel like you have to close your eyes and call, but is there another factor? Give me an argument for folding. You mentioned a good one there, that Lellouche knows Petersen bet into 3 other guys.
Yeah, that's one argument, and another argument.
But he would have played 10 Jack like that, right?
I think 10 Jack just checks back here, though. I don't know really, because the problem is Lellouche's hand is so face up. Lellouche's hand is Queen Jack, Queen 10, King Queen. And if Lellouche knows Petersen knows that, therefore it's a good spot to barrel. So I don't know. And the thing is, I think Lellouche is going to think, well, Petersen's playing every hand. What, you know, I mean, I'm losing to ace, queen, kings, or aces. That's what's going to be going through his mind. He's only losing to those 3 hands.
And look at that look.
Yeah,
he's giving
because he knows how tough it is going to be on the river. Even if he calls here, he's going to be faced with 120,000 chip bet on the river. This would be a very...
Wow, now that's a world-class player. Come on, Andrew.
That's a very good fold.
That's amazing.
That's a very good fold.
That is amazing.
That's why he's one of the, you know, he's one of the world's, one of the top players in Europe.
You got to be a high-stakes cash player. You got to be, I mean, to make those people just get married to that hand against a maniac.
Yeah, exactly. But he knows, but he's got respect for Petersen. Like, he knows Petersen isn't so crazy just to barrel that turn with nothing. So he's obviously does have respect for him, but it's a very good fold.
This global qualifier heat continues after the break.
Welcome back. I'm joined by Andrew Feldman for this second heat of Event 1 Global Qualifiers. If you had to pick one player, Andrew, that you're going to make a bet on to be among the three going through right now, who would you say?
Petersen. He's
really?
Yeah, yeah. I think Petersen's. Not that I saw his hand in this particular spot, because I think he's probably going to win this pot. But Petersen by quite some distance has impressed me the most. And then I would say Petersen. Well, I mean, obviously Muehlbek's got the chips, but yeah, I think it's going to be. I think my predictions are going to be Petersen, Muehlbek, and Lellouche.
Well, the three who are in this pot right now, and Muehlbek, the man who flopped the set.
Oh, this is incredible. I mean, this guy has just
12,000.
Very tough for Petersen to do too much money in this pot, though.
He might. Oh, it's a good fold. You see, he's been spot on. He's made very few errors, and that's. Lellouche is a little bit, you know, he's getting suspicious because he's thinking, how can this guy always have a hand? Every hand he's been in, well,
if it comes to 7 or an 8,
he's gonna
real trouble.
He's gonna lose chips, yeah. Wow, and you called it, Jesse. You called the 7 or 8, and it depends how aggressively Lellouche plays this. I mean, it's insane what we're seeing with this guy. He has to get paid off.
And Lellouche has checked here to raise in your estimation?
No, not guaranteed. He might.
The ace king and the ace queen.
But if you check raise here, those hands should fold. Whereas if you check call, those hands now may go for may think they've got the best hand. He doesn't want, you know, and it minimises damage if you are beat here. You can argue for both. I probably against. Muehlbek, I would prefer the call, because I believe if you check raise, you're basically saying I have 2 pair plus, and ace king ace queen just folds. So what's the point really in raising? And you also minimize losses when you're up against a hand which you're drawing dead to virtually. So this, yeah, he checks. I don't think he's folding. He's just gonna I mean, unless Muehlbek bets 80k here, he might consider it, but I think he's going to call up to like 60k.
Muehlbek balancing out there is a flush out there. There are a lot of combinations of cards Lellouche could have had.
He's definitely not worried about the flush.
40. No?
He's definitely not concerned. Lellouche snap calls. Oh, he hasn't snap called. Wow, he's given it thought. Now, I would imagine. Only Lellouche will be able to tell you this. I would imagine he's considering whether to raise. But he might genuinely be considering to fold. And if he is, that's absolutely phenomenal. And it looks to me like he is genuinely considering, and that's phenomenal. That's incredible.
You know, you talk about how polarized Muehlbek's range is, and by that, I guess I mean, how often does he have ace king, ace queen here?
He could have it he could have this. Like, he could have this very often, like ace king, ace queen. You just can't. I mean, he's considered folding, which is phenomenal by Lellouche. So he's going to feel great, and that's twice for Lellouche. He's had 2 callers.
He's been asked to be knocked out of this tournament twice already. He's still there. Muehlbek now just unconscious.
Yeah, but
fantastic.
I mean, what I loved about that hand is the Lellouche considering folding. That for me was that's just that's phenomenal. I'm very impressed with Lellouche there.
Blinds now 3 and 6,000 in this Heat B, Event 1 of the Global Qualifiers. We're still 6-handed here, but a couple of these players have taken a bit of a beating. Antony, Lellouche, of course, especially. Muehlbek there, well and away the chip leader.
Yeah, he is, but like I say, I think Lellouche considering folding is just a sign of a world-class player. So
we are playing down to 3 players, and because Muehlbek seems to be.
This is. Sorry, I thought that was Muehlbek in the big blind, but no, it's Rizo who wakes up with the monster pair of queens, and Zeiter unfortunately has his 3-bet has been slightly off here, and he might go with it. I don't know.
Oh, Petersen's opened this under the gun,
yeah,
or in second position.
Yeah.
Zeiter with the 3-bet, And this is the second cold 4-bet that Zeiter's been served up.
Yeah, and this time he's actually and because because he's been 3-betting and he's been 4-bet and he knows that players know that that he may be falling around pre-flop. He may think his ace queen has more value, and he may decide to go with it. As we can see, there's 112,000. You don't love. I mean, you don't love this book. You know when you shove here that Rizo isn't folding. So what can you beat with ace queen? That's if it was ace king, it was 100% goes in. Ace queen's more of a consideration.
185,000, which is what Zeiter will have left if he passes, is not no stack. However, you know, if you get it in here and double up, you're in great shape. And you think about the winner take all. Which way would you lean?
I mean,
table dynamics.
I probably would lean more to a fold than a shove, because you just know Rizo can't fold once you shove. So Rizo has to have a hand. So
Rizo will make a lot of little bets, but a cold 4-bet,
yeah,
he's not doing that in this format. He's not doing that without a hand, is he?
I mean, he could have done it on levels 1 or 2 without a hand, but not in level 3 when he wouldn't have committed that amount of chips.
For me, it was
like 25% of his chips there. Like he just always has a hand there, Rizo. So it's just how strong, and Zeiter's made the correct fold.
And for Rizo, puts him in a solid second position. Now, Muehlbek, who still will be perceived by these players as essentially one of the tighter ones, Andrew, you could be saying to yourself, he's not going to push his chip lead as much as a guy like Petersen or Lellouche might. Because of that, there's really going to be a lot of jockeying for those other 2 spots.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think, yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Seed 1, raise 15,000.
The Enigma's limped in here, and Lellouche he's on it like a hobo on a ham and cheese.
I don't yeah, but I don't really like his raise though. His min is like min raise, because it just stinks of weakness, and Rizo's picked up on that. Obviously he has a hand to do it with, but and yeah, I mean, my guy's limped and you 2.5 exit, it looks very weak. And now I don't know whether Lellouche talks himself. He may think that.
Well, there's just a lot of funny dynamics going on right now.
There is, yeah, there are dynamics, and he may be thinking Rizo's just picking up on this weakness, and so he decides to go with it. I mean, since I've played with, watching Antony play now and been playing with him in the past, I'm pretty sure he's going to fold. Wow. There you go. He's decided to, and now.
And that's completely gone.
Yeah.
I think he's gone all in here.
Yeah. Well, no, he's effectively committed himself, and this puts a lot of. This is tough for Ace Queen.
What? I mean,
very tough.
You really can't call it here, can you?
Well, I mean, he's effective. Lellouche is all in basically.
73 behind.
So this is what ends up happening when you like kind of. play the hand in a weird way by just making a very small raise after a limp. He thinks Rizo is just pouncing on that, but Rizo did have a hand.
Just tired.
You?
Yeah.
Or me?
No, you.
Oh, I don't know. I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm tired too.
So you have to call if you're tired.
Yeah, they're all now doing the whole reverse psychology. Oh, I'm tired, so I don't have a hand. He's trying to do all these mind games, Lellouche. He's very, very clever. I can kind of see what's going on here. I think Rizo's going to fold.
Well, Rizo's, you know, you can go through the combinations of hands. Obviously, Lellouche he knows there's a chance Lellouche has kind of an air-type hand, which is what he has. But does he have value hands here? Does he have the 9s, the 10s, hands you're flipping against? Does he have that sometimes
I believe
too?
so, yeah, and that's what he's considering. He definitely doesn't put him on King 10, King Jack, King Queens. Definitely doesn't put him in those hands. He's putting him on, like you say, he's thinking, are we flipping? Do you have the 9s, 10s, or Jacks? But obviously, you could have Ace King.
There is this other situation, too, which is that Rizo, if he folds here, he's got 300+ thousand. He's still in second position. He's in great shape.
Which is why he's going to fold. Yeah, which is why
he calls and loses. That was his tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe that's what Lellouche realized.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I just think Lellouche put him on a re-steal. He thought the 2.5x after a player limps looks so weak, and he thought he was just 3-betting with a weak hand. That's what he thought, and fair play to Lellouche. He put his tournament life on the line, and
he certainly did. I mean that was pretty early for one of those, wasn't it?
Yeah, but there we go. That's and
I'm Lellouche,
and he got him to fold ace queen.
This table is so aggressive right now. If he doesn't keep up the pace and the pressure, if he goes card dead, he could end up short stacked.
Yeah, and of course he can get involved. You know, he can be on the cooler for once. You know, he can double up one of the 300,000 stacks, and he's now below average. So there's, I mean, nothing's set in stone, and you know, I'm sure he'll be aware of that. But he's obviously in a very nice position to be in.
Raise cards for Alexander KP.
Suited ace-8, definitely coming in for a raise, min raise, as we see. Lellouche now has a spot. He may flat call here, may 3-bet with king-jack.
It's 40 big blinds he's on, so probably sort of getting to that point where you can't exactly go crazy 3-betting and folding, but you can.
It's a very tricky one, but we see Rizo with ace-king now. He's definitely not folding here, and he's just going to induce again. He's going to make it 64,000 to induce. Yeah, he's definitely induced. Like,
should this clear the field out?
Yeah, for sure.
No reason for Lellouche to go mad right now?
Definitely not.
This is a different situation.
Yeah, this is much different. 64,000, exactly what I said, and it goes fold.
And that's the second time Rizzo's come in with the cold 4-bet.
Yeah, and he said it both times. He had queens and now ace king.
As well he should.
Okay. Yep. Take an hour.
That's a bunch of coffee.
I'll even buy a coffee.
Round and round this merry-go-round goes.
You pay? Yeah, I'll pay.
I'll pay too.
Over halfway through the third level.
Wow. Sid 5 folds.
Yeah, it's fast, isn't it?
And Enigma, as well as Diego Zeiter, both those guys, I think, feeling a little bit like they've been running in place. A lot of starts, very few finishes. You know, they've been in tons of hands.
6 raise, 12,000.
The Enigma and Zeiter, they just haven't dragged many pots.
Yeah. I think the Enigma's been picking up a lot of hands pre-flop, and I think again he's going to take this down unless Muehlbek decides to call. Which, but then why not? Because he just always flops sets. So yeah, why not? And Petersen has 3s, so.
And was the call for Petersen there? And Muehlbek called
standard.
Always better than the re-raise.
Yeah, it's standard.
You just want to try and hit a set here.
Yeah, it's perfectly standard, and they both missed, and I imagine Tony's going to bet here, and
I'd say big flops have been far and few between for Tony. He's going to be very happy to just take one down here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine this is going to. I can't see.
20,000.
KP giving him any trouble?
How much is it?
20.
Yeah, I can't see. Yeah, I mean he.
No, it's 14.
Nah, he hasn't got enough chips here to check raise. He's only got 200,000.
14.
But who we don't know. I mean, it's only 14,000 as well. It's a very small bet. Yeah, he's there, and it's induced to raise.
He can't help himself. The question is,
you're right.
I mean, now Enigma's quite experienced. Does he look at this Queen Jack like, I'm going to have to go all the way with this against this player?
He'll reevaluate on the turn. He feels he has to call it this check raise, and he'll just reevaluate. And I imagine that it's going to go check on a lot of turns.
Petersen's taking his stab now?
I think he's done with it. He's only got 177,000, and I mean, obviously, it's not.
Wow, this is it. If Petersen bets here, he's going all in on the river.
I don't know if he's only got 170,000. I mean, how much can he bet? What does he bet now? Like
4 bets. 39.
I mean, Tony 39. Is definitely not folding.
It sets up a pot-sized bet on the river, that's for sure.
It does, and if Petersen can find it in him to shove on blank rivers, then this will probably be the one of the best hands you're going to see.
Is Tony raising?
Oh, that's really bad by Tony. Why would you raise here?
Didn't make the nines.
What is the point in raising?
Let me see.
Let me use.
Squeeze the paint. Too late.
I had you crushed.
Yeah, he said he had him crushed, so why raise? That's a shame.
Well, Alexander KP, we easily could have seen him going the long walk home
now? 5-10?
On that river.
Personally, I think he would just shut down, but who knows? We just don't know. But like you say, he might have been planning, that turn bet may have been implying he was going to shove the river. We'll never know, and I'd be very interested to know what his plans were on most river cards.
Hit really, really, really big.
I believe you.
It'd be so disguised, it would have been incredible.
I believe you.
Zeiter, a little more somber right now. Or Zeiter. I guess it's probably Zeiter. That sounds a lot more Swiss to me.
I thought Lellouche might have opened there on the button, but he just and we see Rizo take the more conservative option of just limping with Queen Jack. A lot of players would raise there, and Muehlbek's taking a very conservative two pair, just like that. And now he decides to mix it up, which is good actually, because a queen has come and Rizo has surprisingly checked.
7,000.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, Rizo checked again. Now Muehlbek's bet. And for Rizo, you just have to call here at least once.
Yeah,
the question is, what do you do on the...
Yeah, he's just going to reevaluate. But
you almost have to call on the river, really.
It all depends on how much, what the river is. That's not a great river card. I think he'll bet maybe 15, yeah. And I think Rizo... he's just...
I'll tell you what, Rizo feels like a calling station. He has now paid off Muehlbek twice with the nuts, basically, both times, and he's thinking, oh my gosh.
I can understand that call actually is pretty understandable, though. It's fun, though. I can't really beat himself. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty understandable.
Just hit every hand, it's good.
3 levels in the books, and it's been a dream come true so far, Andrew, for Peter Muehlbek. He's had big hands, he's gotten paid, but the business end really starts now.
Yeah, I mean, this is really where the shoving gets going, and it's now going to be about who runs the best.
We will be back after the break for more action from the second of our 2 global qualifiers. Welcome back to Party Poker Premier League Poker 5. 24 qualifiers are competing for 2 seats in the main event. The second global qualifier is currently in action, and only the top 3 players will progress through to the final for a chance to win a spot in the Premier League lineup. Let's see how it's going with your host, Jessie May.
Busy Montesino Casino. It's so busy here in the poker room, night in, night out. Vienna, the center of card actions, especially when the Premier League poker comes to town. Right now, all that's on the mind of these 6 players is getting a shot at that final table where a seat will be won for the main draw of the Premier League poker. The chance to play against guys like Tom Dwan, Luke Schwartz,
Sam Trickett, Eric Seidel.
I mean, what a list, right?
Elke.
What a list. What a Premier League this
Eugene
is going
Kachalov,
to be. Yeah, it's
Daniel
amazing.
Cates, yeah.
Vanessa Selps, Phil Locke. It's there's not a weak link in there. Muehlbek's called in the small blind, and Petersen, I guess, just wants a piece of this.
Wow, full house. So that's it. He's just come back. Obviously, he's playing a guessing game whether his 3s are good, but I certainly imagine he's going to call 1 bet here. Yeah, he's definitely calling.
What, and hoping that Lellouche slows down?
Yeah,
or?
yeah. But you have to call for 18,000. It's ridiculous to fold.
And what should Lellouche feel?
Yeah,
is it 10 in Muehlbek's range? I mean,
well,
should he make another bet?
No, he's done with it unless he improves. He's done. I mean, he's got outs, as we see, any 10, any 8, any ace. But he's done with this. He's not going to put in another chip unless he's got the best hand. This will almost certainly go check. He doesn't think he can make Muehlbek fold 7s. Wow, this I didn't expect him to bet. He's
bet this very small.
I don't understand Lellouche's bet thinking here, because I don't see how threes are going to fold for 18K.
Is it sometimes you make a very small bet on the turn, thinking you can get the guy to fold for a very big bet on the river,
Possibly,
further
yeah,
define his
possibly.
hand?
Possibly, but at least you see he's not folding three, so he's not.
He's going to have to make a big bet on this river,
well,
right?
I don't know if Lellouche is. I think Lellouche is just going to give up. I don't know. I mean, well, that jack. Now that obviously he's not going to like that jack. Like this is actually a pretty.
This pot's 132,000. Lellouche can't check. Come on, he's got nothing.
Well, yeah. I mean, but it's horrible. He doesn't know whether he's got to bet really, and he's got to make it at least 60,000.
Serious enough.
It
feels like a value bet, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It might get through. Because the jack, obviously, like for any pair, yeah, it's a good bet.
He had to pretty much put Muehlbek exactly and squarely on a small pair to play that hand like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe that's the beauty of Lellouche.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. He put him on. Exactly what he had. I would have preferred him to have bet slightly more on the turn. 18,000 just was always getting called. But the river was a card which really didn't, and underpaired to the board, didn't feel so good now. So well played, Lellouche. That's a massive swing. If he loses that, he's crippled. So
yeah, look at this, 300K. Lellouche doesn't win that pot. He's round about 140, 150.
Yeah.
I think it's cold on the river there. He's down under 100.
I think he's down under 100, yeah. I think he's down to 80K.
Definitely a man who plays on the edge. And the threes are moving around.
I think we're going to see a shove here by Petersen.
What should he be shoving with? Any ace?
Well, with this hand, he's definitely shoving. He's got 12 big blinds. He's got ace-10 suited to a cut-off open. And Rizo may call here. He's going to be yeah, I think
like
Rizo will call
120.
here. There's too much in the pot. You're risking 110 to win 160. You're getting a good price, and Petersen's range is going to be so wide here.
Well, I mean, I just wonder. You know, total. You're never.
I agree. You're never in good shape, but because you're here to win, you're here to win and take as many chips as you can on the final. He should call here. This would be incorrect for him to fold. You're so rarely like a 4-to-1 dog here. He's going to have 2 overcards, and you're going to be a slight favourite. And there's 160,000 in there, and you're only risking 110. It's a call here. And even if he calls and loses, he still has over 200,000, which is in live support. Yeah, nice call. So
Giovanni Rizo has come to the same conclusion.
Yep, nice call.
He's gotten the first part right. He's happy to see Petersen with overcards.
Both happy.
Petersen knows this is his Premier League poker, and Giovanni Rizo knows his is going to get a lot easier if the threes hold.
Good flop for threes.
It is a great flop so far.
About as good as it gets.
Petersen halfway out the door.
Yeah, just an ace or a 10. Otherwise, we'll be seeing the end of Petersen. And unfortunately, he's on his way.
Nice playing video.
Door slam shut on the Dane. First out, but certainly leaving a memorable burning impression with his action, with his style, with his game.
That's math.
It went very bad. Every time I bluffed into the nuts, and the one time I had a good hand, I didn't get any action. And when I tried to steal or make a move, there was just like a 3-bet and a 4-bet behind me. And yeah, it was very tough. All the spots I took, they either had hands or made a move. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. And then I got it all in with ace-10 suited against pocket threes, and he won the race. So
5 gumdrops left. Only 3 Swisher Sweets going to the final table. Aside from Zeiter, who pretty much, or is very close anyway, to thinking he's going to have to commit all his chips and he needs to double up to get back in the game. any of the other four could say to themselves, this is the time to seize the day, to try and make that million, to try and be that chip leader at the final table.
And also the most aggressive player is out, so they'll all be kind of breathing a bit of sigh of relief. So, you know, the most I mean, I'm sure they'll be happy with that, and Zeiter for sure will be glad to see the back of him.
Rizo's raised under the gun. I was actually thinking he'd be a little bit stronger right there with Lellouche in the big blind. It's okay for you?
I think it's fine, perfectly fine. No, I mean, Lellouche has got 30 big blinds. Lellouche isn't short. So I don't really like Lellouche's defend out of position, but we'll see what happens. We've already seen an ace. Well, Tony folded an ace, so yeah, we can see that the percent is very, very close. So I think this is going to go check, check, and Lellouche might.
One check.
If you're Rizo, you feel like, how could he ever miss that flop?
Yeah, exactly. That's
But he has.
Yeah, he has. But Lellouche is capable of. I mean, we saw him do it with 3 high before. But I mean, it's never nice to do it with absolutely no equity. Although it turns out he does have a little bit of equity. But now Lellouche is folding.
There is something about these dangerous coordinated boards that.
Wow.
I mean, and bluffing on them, it makes sense because there's such a very narrow range that your opponent can continue with, but it's still naked, right?
Well,
what do you say?
I'm kind of lost for words in that. That's very.
Was it crazy? Was it good?
I'm a bit speechless. I really hate Rizo's bet. Because, like you say, it's connected with so many hands.
You're supposed to check back so many hands on the flop.
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously, if you check back, you're just leaving the door open to be bluffed. But the problem with betting is you've bet such a small amount that a good player like Lellouche can sense with what's going on. Lellouche's gut instincts are spot on. He hasn't put a foot wrong. So to try and steal a pot via Antony Lellouche is never an optimal play in poker. Never. So I take my hats on to Lellouche. He's played phenomenal. He really has. He definitely deserves to go through.
Well, Muehlbek's opened this pot, and all of a sudden, Muehlbek, it's like the sheen is gone. You know, that glow on him. He's raising with slightly worse hands.
Yeah,
look at this.
This is
and
very
the Enigma's
weak for him,
coming over the top of him.
Has he 3-bet? No, I think he just called.
The Enigma just called.
He's just called because he respects Muehlbek so much that he's just flatting with the ace queen of clubs. And dream flop for Tony. Dream flop.
26.
So he does. So he and Tony should raise here. Tony should.
I mean, if you're Tony right now, aren't you saying to yourself, look, this guy has it when he bets. You can't. For your life, you can't imagine he doesn't have a pair here.
Well, I don't care. Oh wow, he could end up getting some bluffing chips as well. I mean, I would have much preferred Tony to have raised the flop, but it looks like this is going to work out a dream because Muehlbek should bet this card. Don't know why he checks. And I really hope Tony checks back.
35.
6-bet, 35.
Now he's just got a hand which is drawing dead to fold. There's no need to bet. Yeah, you can see Tony's a little bit frustrated there. It's okay to bet, but against Muehlbek, I definitely would be checking back the ace queen of clubs. Muehlbek's now under 500k, so first pot he's actually lost.
And the Enigma is mysteriously rising.
Of course.
That's not really that mysterious, is it?
Qualify. Let's just close the
He's
table
just
and go have
basically he just wants it all wrapped up now. He feels that these 4 players are very well. Probably he doesn't think Muehlbek's
He wants
too
to
good.
cash in, doesn't he?
Basically, yes.
He wants to cash in the Enigma.
He wants to. He just wants to get to the.
The Enigma wants to find the ATM.
Now Lellouche just obviously opens with the Jack 10, and Muehlbek makes a standard defend with Queen 10.
And Muehlbek has had a lot of trouble against Lellouche.
Yeah.
Out of position.
I don't think he's going to have too much trouble on this flop.
Having the best hands is very, very helpful.
Yeah, well, flopping top pair against one opponent always feels quite good. So I imagine he'll just call, but He might raise. No, he just calls. So unless the turn is an ace, a king, a 9, Lellouche is probably done with this. Wow. So that's
Great
a
card.
huge card
A
for
flush
Muehlbek.
draw now for Muehlbek.
I would imagine, yeah, see Lellouche, again, his radar is spot on, and I imagine this is going to go check. I don't think Muehlbek will bet. There's no need to bet. You can't get called check, yeah.
Okay. My favorite hand, Queen 5 online.
Yeah, see, and Lellouche is happy that he didn't end up trying to bluff, because Muehlbek wasn't folding on any street at any point there.
Well, his timing has been brilliant, although Muehlbek happy to take the pot. Montesino Casino in the heart of Vienna. Look at this action, 24 hours a day, cash tables as far as the eye can see, and the Premier League poker is in town. I'm sure several of these players will be playing in the WPT tournaments, the cash games, taking advantage of all the action of the Montesino, but right now they have eyes and focus for nothing other than this global qualifier Heat B. 3 out of these 5 are going to go to that final table. And it's big money no matter who you are. You know, even a guy like Lellouche, used to playing big stakes, he knows what the opportunities lie, you know, getting through this qualifier, getting into the Premier League. It's big.
It's massive. I mean, I would have absolutely have loved it if I had got in, but now this is really interesting for Lellouche. I think Lellouche is going to shove here. Yeah, he does.
Wow.
Yeah, he does.
And
his reads are, again, spot on. I mean, it's not standard because you have to obviously put your opponent on a, you know, 3-betting the button, but he did it, and you just don't muck around with this.
What made Rizo suddenly decide to make the 3-bet in the first place?
Well, cut off open against an aggressive player, and he's got.
And he knows he's getting owned right now, doesn't he?
Yeah, I would definitely. It definitely would feel that way.
Blinds are going to go up to 7 and 15,000 right now. It's Muehlbek, the Enigma, and Rizo in the key spots. That's the top 3 spots. Only 3 players going through. Time to take a short break from this match as Kara Scott speaks with Patrick Antonius.
Patrick Antonius doesn't even need an introduction.
Patrick is a fantastic player at every level.
Considered one of, if not the best poker players in the world.
Patrick Antonius is a diva. He's a very, very focused, tough, you know, he doesn't give anything away. I hope he can prove it, that how big of a diva he is.
Just had time for a quick catch up with Patrick here before the Premier League starts. Now, we're not used to seeing you in this format. Generally, we see you more in the cash games. Why come to the Premier League?
Well, I got invited, and it just fitted to my schedule. So, first time, hopefully it's going to go good. I looked at the heats. I think I have a pretty tough heat, a lot of young talented players, and it's going to be a big challenge for me to play with these guys.
Do you know much about, let's start with Sam Trickett.
Yeah, Sam Trickett is one of my favorite players. I think he's one of the best no-limit hold'em cash game players and tournament players. And if I would have to pick one, I would pick him to win if I have to bet on my money on somebody. And we'll see. It's going to be an interesting mix, I guess. A lot of aggressive players. So we'll see who's going to be in aggressive side and who's going to be on defensive side.
Obviously, Patrick Antonius will be desperate to win, and he's got his pedigree to show everyone that he's well-bred and that he's a performer. But who knows, he might play like a dog. My dog might play better than him.
Plenty more from the Montesino Casino after this. Welcome back to the qualifying stage of Premier League poker. Playing down to 3, who will make that final table where a seat is up for grabs for Premier League Poker 5, the main draw.
C2 folds.
One thing is for sure, that trying to get chips once that final table kicks off is going to be much tougher than getting chips now. You know, the blinds are big here, players are a little tense.
Yeah.
These are some good spots to make money.
Yeah, no, I mean, and like I said, I'd imagine Lellouche and Rizo, with their experience, they're going to exploit it the most. And as we see, Lellouche is considering 3-betting Tony, and I think
14, one missing.
And it looks, yeah, you see, and
it's going to put Tony in a tough spot. Now, what do you do here? I mean, the Enigma, obviously he beats the light 3-bet, but he's not going to shove his stack in with ace-10.
He's going to absolutely hate it. He will hate this spot right now.
Is he going to call and hope he flops huge, or squirm and fold?
Given how he's played, I think he's going to fold. That's my. Given how he's playing, I think he'll fold.
And the reason Lellouche has re-raised here, isn't
because
it?
He knows what's going on. He's a very, very smart guy, Lellouche.
I just wonder, he's so uncomfortable. Obviously, perhaps to
there
Antony.
You go, I told you he's folded.
You got it.
And Lellouche has played perfect. He's got a guy to fold ace-10 heads up with 40 big blinds because he's read the situation perfect. That is what makes a perfect poker player.
I was one away from going all in. I needed one better kicker.
I've been so impressed with Lellouche. So impressed. Hasn't put a single foot wrong. He definitely, of my heat and this heat, he deserves to get that final seat.
Well, still a long way between now and then, but Antony Lellouche certainly has overcome the difficult spots and now has put himself in a position.
He could have been out twice. Well, he had 2 tough spots and he's played them both very well. Muehlbek just gets another. Wow, this could be big pot. I think this is a big pot now. I mean,
if Tony's rash, he could get himself in trouble. But is re-raising the smart thing to do right now anyway? He's got 20 odd big blinds.
Well, this is a very, very interesting spot for him against the one player on the table who I wouldn't want to get in 20 big blinds is Muehlbek. And I really don't want to 3-bet and put myself in a tough spot here.
You don't want a 3-bet pass.
Well, yeah, or if he calls, you're gonna, but this is so tough. This is really close. And given how Tony has been playing in the latter stages, I would probably expect him to call as opposed to 3-betting, which he has done. But I don't know if it is the right play.
He's going to hope that Muehlbek will shut down if he misses. But he'll hope that Muehlbek is going to shut down if he's missing, right?
He's going to definitely call 1-bet here. Definitely. It's
35.
It's a bit of a cooler.
Well, for the flop it is, for sure. It's just what happens on the turn. But again, an absolute beautiful board for 2 queens, heads up. That may now slow things down. And that's actually given Tony a lot of equity, a huge amount of equity. Muehlbek may bet here.
He checked. Oh, sorry.
So he's going to check.
I have to.
He's going to check if he's got the queen of spades, which he doesn't. So he's now happy to check. And now Tony thinks his 2 8s are good. He definitely thinks his 8s are good now.
At least Tony's managed to. I mean, there's no way he can go broke here anyway.
Well, he can't go broke, but he's going to call. How much?
40,000.
40,000. That's a horrible bet.
Why is that?
Why not? Because he's got. Tony would call a much bigger bet there.
I don't know why I had queen.
I don't know why you bet so small. That's got to be betting up much more there. You could see Tony was even considering value betting because the board's played out so nicely.
Yeah.
He believes your head's up here. You don't lose it too much. So, but that's now put Tony.
It's put Tony in a different time zone right now because all of a sudden he's in 4th position, knows he can't coast through for a Muehlbek, back to 600 again, and look who's in 2nd position.
Seat number 1 will raise 31.
Lellouche comes in with his high track open.
It's amazing because Giovanni has made so many moves on Lellouche from these sort of spots.
And you can see he's just folded Queen 10 of spades there.
Yeah, he just didn't even want, don't want a piece of it.
Well, yeah, because he didn't want to have to, because he respects Lellouche's game too much. He's just fed up of being pushed around by him. It's a mental thing now, like, not many players would fold there. And Lellouche is going to take this. But obviously, Muehlbek has 8 high.
So number 1, that's 23,000.
And I can't see.
It's too small, I guess.
No. 14.
15. Oh, sorry. Oh, 10. 10 it's okay.
Muehlbek joking there. He said it was under the minimum bet, but obviously the blind 7 and 15,000 now. Anything over 15K is a legal bet.
It's close. 105.
Very shortly, the blinds will be 10 and 20,000.
Wow.
Wow. So fast now. Nice.
To me, Enigma's the kind of guy, or from what we've seen, Andrew, who now that he knows he can't coast through, he's actually going to be a lot more aggressive, probably be a lot more dangerous.
So as we can see, Lellouche is just playing his position and playing, which is perfectly fine. 6 deuce. Rizo now with the suited Broadway cards.
73.
And this is an interesting spot for Lellouche. I mean for Rizo, the interesting thing is what was in his mind. Is he small 3-betting here to induce? By which I mean, is he calling a shove this time?
It's a very good question, and only he can tell you the answer there. I don't know really. I can't answer that, but I don't think Lellouche is shoving. But I don't know. I think, if he gets shoved on, you just hate it. But I don't know what you do with.
Wow, he has done it!
Wow, this
he
is
has
crazy.
Done it.
This is insane.
And I think that Rizo has done this to induce. I think he.
I don't know though. It's king high to call off all your chips.
He's got 300K back.
Oh, this is mad. Wow, Lellouche's instincts again. This is insane. I think it's getting through.
And the reason
you have it this time too.
Oh, this is. This Lellouche, I'm lost for words.
It's amazing. He's made a decision that Giovanni, and I don't think you can't make a 3-bet there unless you're willing to call the shove.
Exactly.
This guy's too dangerous.
Exactly.
He's a panther. He's a tiger.
Totally agree with you.
He's an animal.
I totally agree with you. But Lellouche has played.
Forget about it.
Unbelievable.
Forget about it.
Unbelievable. I'm lost for words with Lellouche. He's had to put in all his chips with 6 deuce. That's 6 deuce, king 10, king queen. He's been right every time.
Well, blinds are going up again. I feel like that's going to be good news to the ears of Antony Lellouche, who can now keep exerting pressure.
Join us after the break to find out which 3 players progress through to the first global qualifier final. This is Premier League Poker 5 from Montesino at the Gasometer Complex in Vienna. The global qualifying heats are underway to determine who will win the last 2 spots in the main event.
Look at that, blinds 10 and 20,000. There's no place to hide. If you're the Enigma, if you're Giovanni Rizo, to me, these are very tough spots to be in right now. What do?
You
where are your spots?
You just have to get your chips in first, really. You can't let.
You have to get your chips in first.
Yeah, you just can't let Lellouche outplay you, which we've seen he's constantly done against Rizo.
Nope.
1 4. 2 4.
Well, yeah, he wants to count here. Muehlbek, and
I think Muehlbek's more kind of conservative player that will probably fold here, but it's correct. He should be calling against, what's this?
Zeiter,
wow,
he's only
6
got
big blinds. This is a snap call. This is a snap call. It's 5.5. Is that 5? Are the blinds 5-10?
The blinds are 10 and 20,000.
Sorry,
right
10-20. Yeah. So it's 6 big blinds. That's 133. 6 big blinds is a snap call with an ace.
The same as last time.
But does he need to call?
Well, he should be. I mean, it's going to have very little impact It's going to have 20% impact on his stat, and you bring these chips through to the final. So this is, I'd definitely call here. That's very weak fold. See the ace. That's it. That's more than enough.
Zeiter quite happy. He's just trying to stay alive.
Absolutely delighted.
Just trying to stay alive.
Take 30,000 uncontested. Increase your stat by 30% with a rag ace. Be more than happy with that. But you know, this is where the inexperience comes for these. You know, Lellouche, a player like Lellouche would see the ace, snap call.
Lellouche up above 500,000 for the first time. Rizo definitely feeling like this spot is getting precarious.
I think Tony's going to fold here. He doesn't want to take on Lellouche. Yeah, he's folding. He's limped in, but Lellouche, I would expect Lellouche just to win this pot a lot of the time. There's a 3, and that's 2 pair. Lellouche will probably bet 20,000, unless, wow.
That's 20,000.
So Lellouche will just flat call here. Definitely flat. Some players may prefer raising, but I think flat calling is, in my mind, it's a much better play.
Because it looks like you still can be representing 3/8s here. There's a whole lot of things you can do.
Well, yeah, and you know, wow, didn't expect this from Tony.
Could Tony have an ace here?
Yeah, he could. I mean, he limped in with King Queen before, and this is going to be playing on Lellouche's mind. Well, I mean, what's he limping in when he's playing very tight? You know, this is putting Lellouche to the test, and can Lellouche sniff this out? That's it. You just can't steal anything from this guy. Again, perfect. He's playing this hand absolutely perfect. Because I think Tony gives up now.
He's got outs.
I thought, well, I mean, obviously now he definitely doesn't get him off this. But Lellouche has played this hand to perfection.
Wow, Enigma's going for 3 barrels here.
What is?
6-bet, 40,000.
Snap call.
Call.
Yeah, see? Lellouche has played absolutely perfect.
You have a pair? I have it, but if I can see, I have it there.
Yeah, he's
in touch to show or not.
He's in.
No? Okay.
Yeah, he's played perfect. You could not have played that hand any better by Lellouche. Absolutely perfect.
This is a real full-service card room. You can eat at the table. You can drink at the table.
It feels like Bellagio. Like,
you can do, I mean, anything, really.
Bellagio in Vegas. It just feels exactly like that.
Minus the buffet tickets, I guess. But this feels like this Montesino Casino. It's like a throwback to the '70s, really. You feel like you expect to see Amarillo Slim in a cowboy hat. That's what you expect.
Yeah. Now, I don't know what on earth Tony's doing min-raising with King Queen here with 6 big blinds, because now it's giving Muehlbek 3.5 to 1 odds.
You're saying that, I mean, Enigma he has to shove, but he also has to shove every flop, doesn't he?
Well, yeah. I mean, what do you do now with King Queen? I mean, okay, that's terrible. I'm sorry, but you just must open shove there with King Queen. I mean, Muehlbek actually has 40%, but I think he's. You know, if Muehlbek had any pair, he would have called. But he may even call here. I mean, he's getting a great price.
Well, you think to yourself, if you're Muehlbek, that like Tony must have a huge hand, because why else would he min-raise with 6 big blinds?
Not my buddy.
You know,
That stays with me.
I mean,
Yeah,
listen,
I
the
dunno.
list of guys who are min-raising 6 big blinds, you know, there's Phil Hellmuth.
It's one of the worst.
The others are in an Enigma.
I don't know. I think Muehlbek is. I don't think Muehlbek will call here, but
You can't really call here,
well,
can
he's
you?
counting it.
Wow.
I mean, because I think he's just working out, is my 10 or an 8 good as well? He's got backdoor clubs. You know, obviously if he saw the Enigma's hand, he would snap call, but he's just thinking, have you got aces or kings? And I'm only, calling for a 9.
Or Jack.
No, Jack's no good.
Right, I mean, if Enigma has a Jack.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I mean, I think, I don't really think he's too worried about the Jack. He's probably just thinking, how, Yeah, I don't think he's got a jack too often. I think I don't know.
It's such a strange play, isn't it?
It's very odd.
The min raise, the shove on the flop.
Very odd. Why put yourself in this spot? You just shove all in pre-flop and you let the poker gods deal with the rest.
I mean, personally, to me, Andrew, if Muehlbek was going to call, he should have actually played the stop and go and shoved the flop.
I agree.
You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
I agree with you.
That actually, this is
100%
the wrong way around. You should never be checking and calling here. But shoving 100%. On the flop is very reasonable.
Yes, 100% agree with that. If you're going to play it like this, you may. But that's his inexperience coming through. And Tony is shocked that he's actually got the best
I mean,
hand.
what a great spot Tony's in to double up here.
He's now got a double gut shot. He now needs a 5, an 8, a 9, or a 10. He's hit it, the 5.
And that's the end for the Enigma, who, you know, and Tony didn't even see it.
No, he saw
it.
But
got cracked by the code there. He couldn't believe what a great spot he was in there to double up. And as it turned out, the river card has got him. And we're going to be down to 4.
I'm very disappointed. I didn't think that I would have too much trouble getting through today. As it happened, I came up against a big stack and he was hitting cards. So I am disappointed, but I guess it's always next year now.
Round the casino, the Montesino in Vienna. And in the center, taking center stage under the lights. Heat B, Global Qualifier, Premier League Poker 5. Diego Zeiter, look, he's shown us he knows what to do, and he knows what he has to do, and he's not going to be passing too often.
No, certainly not now, but I do feel for him. He has been so card dead, that guy. He has been so dead, and there's just nothing you can do when the cards are just as dry as he's had.
You always have 1, 3, 3.
I think he's a very, very decent player.
He's so short that there's not much in it. But should Zeiter double up, then things do get very interesting, don't they? Because for Muehlbek and Lellouche, there's the opportunity.
Yeah, and it puts a lot more pressure on Rizo if he doubles up.
Now, I wonder, can Lellouche be doing with this?
Wow. Okay, now this is interesting. How does Muehlbek play? Now, given how he's been playing throughout the heat, I think he'll just call, but okay, that's good.
And Lellouche has to be a lot more wary.
Wow. Gee whiz.
Well, he was automatically all in against anything, but now the 3-bet.
Wow,
he knows this 3-bet's strong.
Yeah, no, exactly. He knows Muehlbek's got a huge... Okay, well, so he gets it in, and Lellouche now makes an easy fold. So he'll be delighted to see what he's up against. So, and he's in pretty decent shape, given that Lellouche folded the queen. So
yeah, it was, it was not completely automatic from Zeiter, but
it wasn't automatic.
But he's made a good decision, and look at this, 300K. This will be the biggest stack he's had since the start.
He deserves it. He really does. That's a shame, because he hasn't put a foot wrong. This guy. He's just always walked into hands. You know, he doesn't deserve, but that's the way, unfortunately, poker goes.
And we're looking at the end here. Unless it comes to 7, Rizo will be through, Lellouche will be through, Muehlbek will be through, Zeiter will be
out of here.
Yeah.
Unlucky to him.
He gave it a shot. He gave it a lashing, didn't he?
And he made a good call at the end. You know, that's about put some back above his starting stack, but when you're as dead as he is, there's just nothing you can do.
Here's the chips our final 3 will be bringing to the final table. Peter Muehlbek may not have won anything yet, but he's feeling pretty good. 922,000 will make him the chip leader at that final table. Antony Lellouche on 557 and Giovanni Rizo squeaking through with 321. He'll be the short stack when these Heat B qualifiers join the Heat A for event number 1, Global Qualifier, final table of Premier League Poker number 5.
Seemed to be a really good heat for you, Antony. You seemed really comfortable out there as well. How was it for you?
I played good. I had no cards. My best hand was king queen, and I had to fold it on a queen high flop. So on a 2-barrel from Alexander in the beginning of the table. Then I don't know. I played very aggressive. Like the Italian guy 3-bets me a lot, and I 4-bets him like 4 times out of 5, and he folded 4 times. So I grinded chips just with pre-flop action, and I end up with the average. So I'm quite happy and confident.
Party Poker Pro Giovanni Rizo has made it through to the final for the qualifier. You must be pretty happy about that.
I am pretty happy about that. Short stack, but still in, so we'll see.
The lineup for the Global Qualifier Event 1 final is now complete. Join us next time to find out which player goes through to the Party Poker Premier League Poker main event.
Had a big hand.
Is this gonna be a walk?
Nice hand.
One time?
2 times.
Don't forget we are friends, huh?
Very near to push.
No flying play anymore. Oh.